My family kicked me out for 8 years after my twin cheated with my girlfriend. Now they beg for reconciliation, but my response left them silent. After being disowned by my family over 8 years ago, they've reached out to invite me, my 27-year-old wife, and another female acquaintance for Christmas. I've received a mix of advice from friends, with one suggesting I turn to this online community for insight. I'm a 25-year-old, male, the youngest of 4 kids, born to my 52-year-old mom and 54-year-old dad. My siblings, whom I refer to as Michael, 31, male, Sarah, 28, female, and my twin brother Carl, 25, male, all excelled in physical sports. My dad was a star basketball player at his school. My mom played volleyball. Michael excelled in soccer, Sarah in softball, and Carl was the star running back on the football team. I, on the other hand, showed an early interest in archery, which my family regarded as a wimpy sport. They seldom attended my events, and I often had to plead for their presence. Between the ages of 14 and 16, I participated in around 20 archery tournaments. While my parents only showed up to one, though I wasn't neglected, they were emotionally distant, leaving me feeling overshadowed by my siblings. When I tried to address this, they labeled me an attention seeker. However, my disownment wasn't related to these issues. At 15, I began dating Amy, who was also 15 at the time. We introduced her to my family, and they liked her. However, almost 2 years later, one of Amy's former friends revealed that she had been cheating on me with an unnamed guy. Confronting her, she confessed that it was my twin brother Carl. She claimed her feelings for him had surpassed those for me. Enraged, I confronted Carl at home, resulting in a physical altercation where I punched him and knocked him out. Although my violent reaction was regrettable, it was the culmination of years of resentment toward him and my family. To avoid legal consequences, my family agreed not to press charges against me. Instead, I was sent to live with my estranged paternal aunt, who lived 2 hours away and was 48 years old at the time. Since then, I have had no contact with my immediate family. Initially challenging, I've managed to move forward with the support of my aunt and her 48-year-old husband, gradually letting go of the desire to mend the broken relationship with my family. I transferred to a different high school and eventually attended a university in my aunt's city where I graduated as an electrical engineer. Later, I met my wife and married her. When it came time to plan our wedding, I considered inviting my estranged family but decided against it to avoid any potential drama. My wife and I purchased a house an hour away from my aunt's place, and we were blessed with a daughter about a year ago. Recently, I received a Facebook message from my parents expressing a desire to reconnect over Christmas at their house. I told them I'd think about it, as I might have other plans, and promised to provide a clear answer soon. In the meantime, both Michael and Sarah sent me friend requests on social media, which felt rather strange. My wife, who is 2 months pregnant, suggested that if I chose to go, she and our daughter would spend Christmas at her father's house to avoid unnecessary stress. I agreed with her, considering her well-being. My dilemma is whether to go and attempt to reconcile with my family or not. I'm torn on what to do. On one hand, it's possible they feel remorse for what they did to me and want to apologize. On the other hand, there's the fear that if I go, they might pressure me to apologize to Carl, something I'm not willing to do. Any advice on this matter would be greatly appreciated. I think you should go another time. Spend Christmas with your wife and child. Visit your family at a less stressful time to see if they have any ulterior motives. It might just be about them wanting to see their grandchildren and not necessarily about you, which would be hurtful to you. Yeah, I agree. Go another time. I was thinking the same thing. It could be related to the grandkids. Spend Christmas with your wife and child. Christmas is too big of an event to meet them. I can't get this post out of my head. I can't imagine a parent kicking out their child who was betrayed by their other child. They might want to reconnect due to money or the grandchild. I don't know, but it's weird that even his siblings texted RP. I hope it's for good reasons, though. I wouldn't consider spending Christmas away from my pregnant wife for them. Maybe I'm missing something, but why choose Christmas to reach out? They could have contacted me at any time and given me the chance to choose a convenient time to reconnect. They're the ones trying to mend things, so their timing seems odd to me. I personally wouldn't go unless you truly want them back in your life. The situation seems fishy to me. It's possible they found out about my successful child and are now attempting to heal the family image to avoid looking like they abandoned their son years ago. It feels like a trap. I noticed they didn't open with any remorse or sign of an apology. They might want something from me: money, free work, an organ, or access to my children. Or maybe they just want to appear good to their friends. I'm not saying do it, but keep your expectations low. Be prepared for them to ask me to do something for them in order to reconcile properly, and have a quick exit strategy ready. As a parent, I can't fathom going no contact with one of my children for 8 years, especially after the other child did something so cruel to them that they had to resort to hitting them. It's inconceivable to me. I would understand if my son hit his brother under such circumstances. We're all human, and moving past the fact that they abandoned me and turned their backs for 8 years is my choice. Personally, I'm not sure if I could. If I can't or don't want to see them again, I doubt anyone would blame me. If they do blame me, they don't know the full story. And if they do know the full story and still blame me, they're not worth my time either. I wanted to post earlier, but some things got in the way. 2 days after Christmas, my wife began experiencing unbearable pain in her abdomen area. She could hardly stand on her 2 feet. Her sister and I rushed her to the hospital, where we learned that my wife had suffered a miscarriage and that the fetus had to be removed right away. The worst part for me was explaining to my wife what had happened. Due to complications surrounding the operation, my wife had to stay in the hospital for 2 more days. I've been trying to stay strong for my wife and daughter, but honestly, I'm struggling right now. Most of you who commented on the same day advised me not to spend Christmas with them due to the significance of that holiday. I agreed with the advice and decided to spend the rest of the holidays with my wife. When I texted my family stating my decision, I expected them to argue with me. Surprisingly, they responded by saying they respected my opinion and looked forward to seeing me after the holidays. Curiosity got the best of me, and I started digging into my family to understand why they had reached out after all these years. I found out that Michael is a corporate lawyer working for a major company in our hometown, married with 2 daughters. Sarah, on the other hand, appeared to be married to a doctor and had a son. 8 years ago, she was studying to be a nurse. My friend, whose parents were friends with mine, informed me that Sarah had divorced her first husband, the one she was dating 8 years ago, due to mail fraud. Carl, my twin, married Amy right after high school, and they have 2 kids. I couldn't pinpoint their exact occupations, but the fact that they bought a big house last year suggested they were financially stable. My dad seemed to be going through a midlife crisis, while my mother was heavily involved in the wellness community. I tried to analyze why they might want to reconnect. One possibility was money, but considering my siblings' financial stability, that seemed unlikely. Another suggestion was organ donation, although it didn't make sense given that Carl, my likely match as my twin, was seen skiing in a Facebook post just a week before Christmas. Then there was the matter of my daughter. They might be reaching out to have a relationship with her, although she wasn't their first granddaughter. I suspected they found out about her through my wife's public Facebook account. My next step was to contact my estranged aunt, the one who took me in, and inform her about the situation. She explained to me why my grandparents had disowned her. After college, she came out as bisexual and started dating her girlfriend, leading to immediate disownment. However, about 4 years ago, my grandpa began to reconnect, and recently he had been inquiring about me, my life, marriage, and whether I had kids. My aunt's response was swift and confrontational. She directly challenged my grandpa for his sudden interest in my life, particularly after he had supported Carl for his actions. That's when the whole situation took a surprising turn. Grandpa explained that he believed I deserved to be abandoned because, according to him, I had cheated on Amy with one of her close friends. He viewed cheating as a grave offense due to his religious beliefs. According to my family's version of events, the friend with whom I allegedly cheated confessed to Amy, who then sought comfort from Carl and Sarah. When I learned about this, I confronted Carl and Sarah, attacking them brutally. Sarah, who had attempted to mediate between me and Carl, was unharmed during the confrontation. Hearing this revelation from my aunt left me in shock. I couldn't fathom the depths of their animosity, leading them to concoct such a terrible lie about me. Later, my aunt disclosed the whole truth to Grandpa, who was utterly shocked. He had always believed Carl to be a good kid. Grandpa then demanded my aunt revive my phone number, but she refused. I eventually uncovered the real reason my parents and siblings had reached out to me. It turned out Grandpa had given them an ultimatum. Either they apologized to me for their past mistreatment and invited me to the family Christmas dinner, or they would be cut off from his vast fortune. He was a multi-millionaire, and their financial greed motivated their sudden interest in reconciling. Instead of seeking genuine reconciliation for their past wrongdoings, they were driven by selfish motives. After learning the truth from my aunt, I decided to cut all ties with them. Why should I respond to people who only valued me for the potential inheritance they could gain? In my eyes, they were all dead to me. I had a supportive wife to care for, a family that respected and loved me, and supportive in-laws who were there for us. However, the story didn't end there. 3 days after New Year's Eve, I received an unexpected call on my work phone from an unknown number. Despite being accustomed to such calls due to my career, I picked up, only to hear my grandfather's voice on the other end. He must have obtained my number from my company's website. Surprisingly, his first words were an apology for not attempting to contact me over the past 8 years. He expressed his apologies for missing significant milestones in my life, such as my graduation, wedding, and the birth of my daughter. Frankly, I hadn't been particularly close to him before, so his decision to cut me off financially didn't affect me deeply. As our conversation continued, he revealed his disgust for the rest of my family and stated that he was cutting them off as well, adding me to the list. I found myself conflicted about this news. While the money would undeniably be helpful, I didn't want him to manipulate the situation to force a relationship between me and my daughter. Our conversation lasted about half an hour, during which I began to think that perhaps I could build a genuine connection with my grandpa. However, my feelings changed abruptly when he made it that infuriated me. He expressed disappointment that my daughter hadn't taken the family name. To provide some context, after marrying my wife, we discussed using her last name for our future children. Due to legal constraints preventing me from adopting her name, we made this decision together as a couple. At that moment, I couldn't contain my anger and let loose on my grandpa, labeling him as a senile old man and hurling hurtful words. I made it clear that I never wanted him to contact me again. The audacity of his comment, considering what I had gone through, was beyond infuriating. I resolved not to let him use any potential inheritance to control me. Even if I received the money, my plan was to donate it to a local charity. However, given his history of empty promises, this outcome seemed unlikely. The past few weeks have been incredibly challenging for me. My wife had taken measures to protect our privacy by privatizing her Facebook account, and my in-laws had done the same. How my estranged family planned to contact me remained a mystery, although I suspected they might resort to extreme measures, perhaps even hiring a private detective. As far as I knew, they didn't have information about where I currently lived, but one could never be too certain. I've considered getting a restraining order, but it's complicated given the presence of lawyers in the family. I didn't get the chance to answer some questions from my last post before it was inexplicably deleted. I'll try my best to respond to any questions over the next day or two, but after this, I won't be using the site for a while. They don't deserve any more of your time and energy. Forget about them. I genuinely hope they don't bother you anymore, allowing you to focus on your family at home. You've endured a whirlwind of hardships in recent weeks, but I urge you not to let these toxic individuals burrow any deeper into your peace of mind. They thrive on chaos, and giving them even a sliver of your emotional real estate only empowers their nonsense. Take a deep breath and reclaim your center. Focus on the life you've built brick by painstaking brick, far removed from their shadows. As for your grandfather's insensitive remark about the family surname, there's a silver lining in the storm. The veil has been lifted, revealing the raw, unfiltered truth about their motives and manipulations. Their true natures, selfish, conditional, and devoid of authentic remorse, are laid bare for all to see, including him. It's a painful clarity, but it's also liberating. Don't rush to bridge any gaps with him. Instead, encourage him to hold on to whatever fortune he's dangling like a carrot. If by some twist it finds its way to you, perhaps through legal channels or an unexpected bequest, pause before acting. Give yourself the grace of time to mull it over in quiet reflection, free from pressure or haste. Weigh the implications not just for your wallet but for your soul and the legacy you want to pass on. Remember, you've curated a circle of extraordinary souls who stand as your true kin, your devoted wife, with her unyielding strength, your precious daughter, a beacon of pure joy, and your in-laws, those steadfast allies who've shown up without fanfare or strings attached. These are the pillars that hold you upright, the ones who celebrate your victories and cradle your sorrows. Nurture those bonds fiercely. They're the heartbeat of what family truly means. As for the rest of that fractured clan, let them fade into irrelevance, consigned to the periphery where they belong, stewing in the consequences of their own making. My heart aches for the profound grief you've shouldered, not just the fresh wound of losing your unborn child, but the cumulative scars from years of betrayal and isolation. Miscarriage is a silent thief, robbing you of dreams unspoken, and compounded with this family drama, it's no wonder you're reeling. Yet, in the midst of this tempest, hold fast to this truth. You are enveloped by a network of unwavering love and solidarity. Your chosen family, those who see your worth without qualifiers, reminds you daily that you are not just tolerated, but deeply desired and treasured. They don't measure your value by bloodlines or bank accounts. They simply cherish the man you are, flaws and triumphs alike. Even if your biological parents and siblings remain blind to your light, blinded by their own regrets or pride, that doesn't dim your radiance. It only underscores how far you've risen above their limitations. In this raw season, I implore you to lean into professional guidance, perhaps a therapist versed in grief and family estrangement, or a counselor who can help unpack the layers of anger and sorrow for both you and your wife. You've weathered storms that would break lesser spirits, the sting of favoritism in childhood, the gut-wrenching betrayal by those closest to you, the abrupt exile that forced you to forge a new path. Professional support isn't a sign of weakness. It's the smart, compassionate toolkit for rebuilding stronger. It can offer tools to process the rage that boiled over in that phone call with your granddad, tools to honor your boundaries without second-guessing yourself. Speaking of which, that explosive exchange might have been the catalyst he needed to pierce through the fog of lies your family spun, portraying you as the volatile one, the unhinged aggressor, when in reality, you were the victim gaslit into fury. Their narrative painted you as unstable to justify their abandonment, but your aunt's honesty flipped the script, showing him the depth of their deceit. You were absolutely justified in your outrage. That comment about the last name wasn't just tone-deaf, it was a presumptuous jab at your hard-won autonomy, especially after you'd shared such intimate choices with your wife. Still, from a gentle outside vantage, it seems like your response, born of exhaustion and hurt, might have carried the heat of the moment a touch too far. I get it completely. Trauma has a way of amplifying every slight into a roar, and this could well have been the breaking point after a barrage of emotional landmines. No judgment here, it's human to snap when the dam finally bursts. Consider it a pivot point, a chance to reflect without regret, knowing you've asserted your right to peace. I'm wrapping you in virtual arms of empathy and fortitude right now. May waves of calm wash over you, steadying your steps forward. My deepest wish is for your wife's healing to unfold swiftly and tenderly, her body mending as her spirit rediscovers its spark. And for you both, let this emerging year unfurl like a promise of renewal, softer days, with your daughter's laughter echoing through your home, unexpected joys in the quiet routines, and a horizon dotted with possibilities untainted by the past. Ultimately, your grandfather's opinion of you, shaped by half-truths or his own baggage, holds no sway over the man you've become. Chase connections rooted in mutual respect and shared values, not coerced by coffers or conditional affection. Money-tainted ties erode like sandcastles at high tide. They're pretty from afar but crumble under scrutiny. This rift might ripple into your aunt's dynamic with him, potentially straining whatever fragile thread they've rewoven over the years. But let's be real, their history was never a tapestry of deep emotional weaving to begin with, just a pragmatic truce, perhaps, laced with unresolved tensions from her own disownment. It stings, sure, but it also frees you to invest in relationships that reciprocate your vulnerability. You've already proven your resilience by building a life of purpose and love from the ashes they left behind. Keep turning toward the light you've ignited. Therapy sessions that untangle the knots, family game nights that stitch new memories, maybe even a quiet ritual to honor the child you lost, like planting a tree in your yard as a symbol of enduring growth. Surround yourself with affirmations of your worth, journal prompts that celebrate your engineering triumphs, walks with your wife where you dream aloud about the adventures ahead with your daughter. You're not defined by their failures or your grief. You're sculpted by your choices to rise, to love fiercely, to protect your peace. In time, this chapter will feel like a distant echo, overshadowed by the symphony of your thriving present. You've got this, not because you're unbreakable, but because you're beautifully, imperfectly human, backed by a tribe that sees your full spectrum. Here's to brighter tomorrows, where healing blooms and joy takes root.